Universal Studios Japan is one of the country's premier theme parks. It is located in Osaka and is home to a collection of dark rides, roller coasters, thrill rides, and family rides. And if you've ever been to a Universal theme park, then you'll recognize a lot of the attractions here. When I was walking around this place, one of the things I said was this place really combines the best of all the Universal parks. Unlike Universal Orlando Resort, this is only one park, but it has a little bit of everything. It has Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, Minions, Jaws is still there, as well as some other nostalgic attractions and modern day thrill rides. So this is going to be my full in-depth review. I'm going to walk you through exactly what it's going to be like to visit this place so you can be prepared should you decide to go out to Japan and check this place out. Now I first want to discuss getting here because Universal Studios Japan has its own direct line that takes you straight to the park, and one of the things that you will want to be prepared for is the fact that this gets very crowded. If you're taking one of the trains here, be prepared for standing room only. The park has its own station that drops you off directly in City Walk, which is incredibly convenient, so that is a major advantage should you decide to do that. But if it's possible to stay within walking distance of the park so that you can avoid that altogether, that would definitely add some ease to your visit. And something I want to mention briefly, because this was really important to us, when we visited this park, we had all of our luggage with us and we didn't want to bring it in the park. Within City Walk, you will be able to find lockers that you can rent all day to put your stuff in there. However, you'll want to get there early because they have a very limited selection. If we had decided to show up to the park just a little bit later, they probably would have been all gone and we would have been screwed for the rest of the day. So you've arrived in City Walk and you're walking towards the park, and the thing I'll say about City Walk is it is very similar to the one in Hollywood. Less like the one in Orlando since it's so much bigger, but it definitely felt like I was walking in Universal Studios Hollywood here. And I apologize if in this video I draw a lot of comparisons to the Orlando and Hollywood parks, because I'm going to guess that a lot of you guys have been to some of those places, but maybe not this park. So I'm going to use those comparisons to help give you an idea of what to expect. Another thing I want to mention here is that this is one of the only parks in Japan that actually had any form of security at the entrance. They had a bag check here. In addition, before you board Hollywood Dream, you actually go through a metal detector. So you can tell already that they take safety here very seriously. And that may seem like no big deal, especially for parks in America that do that like everywhere. But in Japan, that isn't always the case, but they do it at USJ. So you approach the Universal Archway, very similar to the one in Florida. Very grand entrance. You see the globe out front. And if you didn't get your ticket online, ticket booths are right there. And you're looking at a fairly expensive ticket. However, it is nowhere near as expensive as the American parks. It's just over 7,000 yen, aka like 70-ish US dollars. Definitely one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive park that we visited in Japan. But compared to over $100 entry fee in Hollywood and Orlando, 70 is nothing. Now, one thing I did want to mention is this park is notorious for getting very crowded. We actually made the mistake of visiting here on a national holiday. We had no idea it was a holiday before showing up here, but it was very busy. And I feel that's important to mention because we were able to get most of the attractions done. However, if you are worried about it and you really want to maximize your time, you can get a skip the line pass here. But I do not think it is a very good deal. And this was one of the decisions that we had to make when we're at the ticket counter. We said, man, it is super crowded. Do we want to do this? And we decided not to get the skip the lines because if you want to skip only 4 rides, you're already paying more than the general admission price. And that's only skipping 4 rides once. And you don't have complete control over which lines you get to skip. You can do one that allows you to skip 7 rides. They have different packages where, say, if you want to skip Flying Dinosaurs line in 6 other rides, you can pay this price. Or if you want to skip Hollywood Dream Backdraft line and 6 other rides, you can buy that one. But you can't skip both Flying Dinosaur and Hollywood Dream Backdrop, which is quite unfortunate because chances are if you want to do one, you want to do the other, and there's no possible way for you to get both. So after tax, you're paying over 10,000 yen, aka over $100, and only skipping some of these rides once, and you can't even skip everything? Yeah, terrible deal in my opinion. So we decided against it, and we didn't even get the 2-day ticket option, which we were considering because we figured, oh man, these crowds are being crazy. Are we going to want a second day here? But we only went with one, and I think that was the right decision. And the main reason we were able to get everything done is because of single rider lines. You can find these at the Hollywood and Orlando locations, and if you've ever used them before, you know how much time it can save you and is no different here. All the same attractions at those parks that have single rider lines have them here too, including Forbidden Journey, Spider-Man, Flying Dinosaur has a single rider line, as does Hollywood Dream, and you will want to be sure to use these. Especially, and I can't emphasize this enough, for Forbidden Journey. Single rider was a walk-on when the standby line was well over an hour. So that is the biggest piece of advice I can give you if you're going to do one day at Universal Studios Japan. So you walk in the front entrance, and one of the things that you'll notice is the front entryway is completely covered. If you've been to Tokyo Disneyland, it is that way there too. And I thought that was really interesting. It's very convenient if it rains, which in Japan it does tend to rain a lot. So you can hang out in that main entry area, checking out all the different shops, and you won't have to worry about getting rained on. And it just creates a very cool look. The entry area is very similar to Universal Studios Florida, and in general, that is the park I would compare USJ the most to. In terms of layout, they have a lot of similarities. You'll notice the lake, the San Francisco area, the LA area, but then they throw in an entire Minion Land, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, some of these elements that you would have found in Islands of Adventure. So that's why I go back to this park really combines the best of all of Universal. And from what I rode, there isn't a bad attraction here. Many of the rides are clones, but they're good clones. Forbidden Journey, world-class dark ride. Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, technological marvel. And actually, what's kind of neat about Spider-Man here, it is located inside what is the Mummy building at Universal Studios Florida. So you won't find Mummy here, which is kind of sad, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Now I want to talk about the Minion area for a second, because this is actually the largest Minion-themed area in the world. And one of the reasons for that is that the Japanese people love Minions. And so the park went all out. There's so much detail. This was arguably the most popular section of the park. There were so many people here taking pictures with everything, checking out all the cute details. I mean, it's a very well done area. Like, you thought the Minion area at Universal Studios Hollywood was nice? Nah, this blows it out of the water. So even if you aren't a huge fan of like Despicable Me, be sure to take a walk down through this area just because of how well done it is. And one of the things that was funny was when I was exiting the Minion section, they actually started a spontaneous dance party. There was a huge crowd gathered in front of a stage. They were playing music and they actually had a beat drop, and when that happened, they sprayed the audience with water and everyone got soaked, and it was just really funny to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next, I want to move on to Jurassic Park, because of course this is home to what I believe is their flagship attraction, Flying Dinosaur, and I've done a whole separate review of that on my channel, so be sure to go check that out if you want my in-depth thoughts about that ride. But looking at the Jurassic area as a whole, it's a very strong section. One thing that I noticed is it's a very skinny pathway, and I wouldn't say it's super immersive, and maybe partially the reason for that is because there's a big towering roller coaster over most of the area, but they do have a lot of similarities. Like here, they do have the Jurassic Discovery Center. It's painted differently than the one at Islands of Adventure. This one's brown and green instead of white and orange. They do have Jurassic Park River Adventure, except here it's called Jurassic Park The Ride, and is actually a mirror version of Universal Studios Hollywood's, even though theirs is Jurassic World now. Before is Jurassic World, this was identical. So if you missed Jurassic Park The Ride at Universal Studios Hollywood, don't worry, you can find the exact same thing over in Japan. Last thing I'll mention about the Jurassic area is we saw a really cool presentation here. Actors came out in full-on dinosaur suits, and these dinosaur costumes were amazing. And there were like 4 of them. Very interactive, gathered huge crowds. They're getting right in your face. There's someone with a microphone talking about them. Of course, we didn't understand because it was in Japanese, but it was just awesome. I'd never seen something like that before, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really well done. Next to the Jurassic area is Waterworld. If you've ever seen the show at Universal Studios Hollywood, you know it is absolutely incredible. Here, I believe it is actually an upcharge. You have to pay a separate fee to go see this show. So we did not do it because they were checking tickets outside the entrance. I thought that was kind of weird. Maybe I interpreted that wrong and it's not actually an upcharge, but it was my understanding that we could not just walk in and take a seat. Continuing our loop around the lake, one of the next things you'll come to is Jaws the Ride, which I know a lot of people are going to love, especially since Orlando's is no longer there. But unfortunately, this was the only ride there that was closed because of maintenance, so I did not have the opportunity to do it, which I was really sad about. One of the next areas you'll come to is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and they do something here that that I really liked. This whole section is almost separate from the rest of the park. There's a long pathway that takes you into this area, and it's surrounded by trees, and it makes you really feel like you're journeying away from the rest of the theme park to go here. It's very immersive, and I really like that. Back there is also where they're building Super Nintendo World, so I don't know if it'll be like that for too much longer, just because no one will really know until that area opens up. It was great. That land I'm not going to talk too much about just because it is an exact replica of the other sections. They even have that designated archway for where Hagrid's would be, just like Hollywood's. So the layout is the same. The two main differences I found with this area, first, are that they actually have the Black Lake, what is normally queue space, trees, and grass in the other Harry Potter areas. Here, there's a body of water in front of Hogwarts Castle, and it makes for some really nice reflections. And then the other main difference I noticed is actually, and I know this is going to sound dumb, the Butterbeer Cups that they serve it in are like half the size of what they are in the American parks. But it's just as expensive. You're just getting half the amount that you would normally. That being said, I still bought it because, man, do I love frozen butterbeer. Later that night, once it got dark, because this is one of the few parks in Japan that is open at night, we saw the Hogwarts Houses show that was projected onto Hogwarts Castle. And that was great. It was actually my first time seeing that projection mapping done in that environment. I hadn't seen it at the other Universal parks. It was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. One last thing I'll add, because I know some people will be curious about this. Forbidden Journey, as well as the other screen-based rides here, all have overdubbed audio in Japanese. So while the screens are showing the same thing, aka Harry is mouthing words in English, the audio is in Japanese, which I thought was really interesting. It was kind of cool. I liked it. Moving on to the next area of the park, we have our kids section. And get this, one of the characters that they have here is Snoopy. I had no idea about this going in, and it just made me laugh because for so long, I'm used to seeing Snoopy as a Cedar Fair character, and here he is at a Universal park. He's also there with Elmo, which is often associated with SeaWorld parks. I was so taken back by it. It surprised me. Hello Kitty is also there, which is a very popular character in Japan. There is another roller coaster at this park that's located in this whole indoor section themed to the Peanuts characters, and it's so well done. It is so cute. It blows any Snoopy themed area that Cedar Fair has ever done out of the water. The theming is spectacular, and it's a cute little family coaster as well. They have a great set piece in the middle with Snoopy and Woodstock flying around with this camera like they're shooting a movie. It's really adorable. I wish we saw theming like this at some parks in America. So that's it for the main themed sections. I just want to talk about a few other miscellaneous rides here and there. Space Fantasy is an indoor spinning coaster, and it's so weird, but it's really cool. It too has a single rider line and actually has a continuous loading station, so the line moves really fast. Just note that one downside with this is that it actually has lockers that you have to pay for. It's only 100 yen, but it kind of sucks because the other rides here have lockers, but they're all free. So I don't really know why that's the case, but be prepared for that. But it's a great ride, highly recommend, really blew us away. An attraction I never got the chance to experience while in Florida, but is still here in Japan, is Backdraft. This is a pyrotechnic show that is themed to burning buildings and firemen, where we essentially go room to room watching these set pieces catch on fire, and it gets hot in there, but it is really cool. I know a lot of people in Florida really miss it. I'd never heard of it before going in here, so I did not know what to expect, but I was blown away. So that's it for the rides I wanted to cover. Notice I didn't talk about Hollywood Dream. I have a full separate review for that on my channel, Like Flying Dinosaur, so please go watch that. A few other thoughts I had about the park. I was really impressed about how nice the associates were here. I mean, everyone in Japan is super friendly, but we saw some staff really go above and beyond here. One cast member gave us all stickers because they saw that we were from America here for our first time, and so we're walking around with our first time visit stickers. It was great. And if you happen to grab a park map here, note that it is actually really helpful. On the back, it has a list of common questions you might have, and this is in English, by the way. You can get an English map. And if you have a question that is listed on this map, all you have to do is flag down an employee and point to the question you have on the map, and they'll answer it for you. Like one of the questions in there, for instance, is a numbered ticket required to enter the Wizarding World of Harry Potter today? And they'll point to either yes or no. Chances are they'll point to no. I think that was actually only done for the first little bit that section of the park was open. But since it's been here for a while, I don't think they're doing that anymore. I could see them, however, doing that once Nintendo opens. But still, I thought that was a really nice touch. And you know, as you're just walking around the park, it's really nice vibes. It's very clean. They play great music here, lots of variety. At one point, they're playing the soundtrack from Hamilton and The Greatest Showman, which is something that, I don't know, I was kind of surprised at, because it's like, we're over here in Japan, but no, they're playing The Greatest Show and the opening song from Hamilton. Like, it was just awesome. And as if I couldn't like it anymore, we ended out our day by watching the parade. And I know some people are gonna be like, parades are fine, whatever. But no. Hear me out here. This is the greatest parade I have ever seen in my life. It is titled The Best of Hollywood, and it features 4 different sections of the parade themed to various movies. It starts off with Harry Potter, moves on to Transformers, then to Jurassic World, and ends with Minions. Each section has 3 different floats, and they are so elaborately done. And it's not just that. To go along with the theme, they're using projection mapping on the buildings around it to help set the mood. Transformers, there's a massive Bumblebee, and he actually transforms from a car into a giant robot. I have never seen that before on a float. Jurassic World was the highlight for me. There's one float in particular where they have actors in these raptor suits in a cage that then escape. Walking alongside this float are actors dressed up like Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt's characters from the films, trying to control these raptors who are rampaging the streets as soon as they break out. Like, are you kidding me? That's freaking awesome. And then, of course, there's a massive T-Rex, and then the Minion area just ends with an all-out party. There's actually a mini roller coaster on that float, which I thought was kind of funny. It was cute. But man, just left a great impression on this park. Not to mention, it just looks nice at night. I was so impressed here. I really enjoyed this place. As a whole, I liked Universal Orlando Resort more than USJ, but because that's more than one park, I didn't really think that was fair. Universal Studios Japan as one park compared to the individual other Universal parks, well guys, I don't know, this might be the best Universal park. It's tough to say. I mean, it has the best of everything. Sure, it's not going to have as many rides as the entire resort in Orlando does, but they packed quite a lot in here. I thought it was a great atmosphere, and one of the last things I'll actually mention here, the setting of this park is kind of neat. You can see a highway directly behind the park. It's this big towering bridge. You can see all the cars going by, and then towards the front of the park, there's these big massive buildings. So it just creates an interesting environment. Some people argue, well, that kind of takes you out of it, makes it not as immersive. I didn't mind it. I thought it was actually neat. You could tell they put a lot of thought into this park when they were designing it and putting in all these rides, and it certainly shows. So, to conclude my review, do I recommend Universal Studios Japan? Absolutely. If you're in the country visiting theme parks, this is one you will not want to miss. It's not my favorite park in Japan, but it has some of the best rides, is very well-rounded, and you're getting quality. Again, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than a place like Nagashima or Fuji-Q or even Tokyo Disney. It'll be up to you to decide whether or not you think you'll need more than one day here. We were able to get away with one on a national holiday, but it was also a very busy day, so if you want to do 2 to take your time, really take things in, I can totally understand that. So that's gonna do it for my review of Universal Studios Japan in Osaka. Let me know down in the comments below if you've been here, if you agree with my thoughts, what you think of this place. If you think I missed anything, be sure to post all that down below, and of course stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you guys next time.